Under Section 80, Section 1 of the Anti-Corruption Act of 2023, designated officers are placed under a strict obligation to report their financial standing. Compliance requires you to submit a complete declaration of your assets and liabilities strictly by entering your data into the new centralized electronic system. The penalties for failing to meet this standard are severe. Under Section 90, failing to disclose all required assets or deliberately omitting information constitutes a legal offense. Any asset you leave off this ledger is directly liable for forfeiture to the state. Because the system is built on these strict legal requirements, even unintentional omissions carry the weight of an offense. Every entry must be a precise reflection of your financial reality to ensure your assets remain legally protected. The scope of your declaration extends well beyond your own name. You are required to report on specific individuals defined by the Act as covered persons. This diagram outlines exactly who is covered. You must include your spouse, any dependent children, regardless of age, any other person dependent on you, and anyone who has shared a common household with you for a continuous period of at least 6 months. Before you begin entering data, gather the official documents listed in Annex 01 for all of these individuals. If you have filed before, the system allows you to import previously declared data to save time. Once your documents are ready, you must navigate a rigid set of submission timelines, which depend entirely on the specific type of declaration you are filing. For a first appointment, you must file within 3 months. Annual declarations are due on or before June 30th. If you retire, you have just 14 days to declare, and for elections, your submission must be completed prior to filing your nomination papers. You must also monitor the ad hoc trigger. If there is any significant change in your assets or liabilities amounting to 10 million rupees or more, the law demands a distinct declaration within exactly 1 month of that change. Knowing precisely who to report on and when to file is the structural foundation of a compliant ledger. Income is the first category you will record. This includes gross earnings from employment, business, rent, interest, dividends, and gifts. You must declare this income, even if it was earned or held outside of Sri Lanka. Next are immovable properties. You must account for residential and agricultural land, commercial buildings, and any jointly owned properties. For all of these assets, the law applies a specific and final test: beneficial ownership. Looking at this blueprint, you can see how the rule functions. If the legal title of a property is registered under someone else's name, but you receive the rent, occupy the space, or control the management decisions, you hold beneficial ownership and must declare it. This exact rule applies to your vehicles. Whether cars, boats, or aircraft, beneficial ownership supersedes whose name is printed on the registration papers. There is one specific exception. You are not required to declare vehicles assigned to you by the government. Placing an asset in a relative's name does not bypass the law. Functional control equals ownership. You must also account for high-value physical items. This covers wearable jewelry, uncrafted precious metals, gems, and collectibles like antiques or art. As illustrated by this scale, these items, along with any personal or business loans you have given out, only require declaration if the value of a single item or collection exceeds 1 million rupees. Moving beyond physical items, you must declare commercializable and tangible assets. This explicitly includes patents, copyrights, and trademarks. For monetary assets, you are required to disclose all cash in hand, savings deposits, and retirement or provident funds. Note that mandatory centralized plans, like the EPF and ETF, are excluded. Finally, you must expose your corporate structures. You are required to declare any property held in trusts, as well as investments like company shares, ETFs, life insurance policies, and directorships, regardless of whether the company is actively making a profit or located abroad. If an instrument holds latent value or grants you corporate influence, it must be illuminated on your ledger. Physical possession is irrelevant. We now shift focus from accumulated wealth to your financial outflows, what you owe and what you spend. You must declare major expenses incurred by you or a covered person. This means significant life events like weddings, international travel, or large donations where the individual or total category cost falls specifically between 1 million and 10 million rupees. Do not over-report. As shown on this receipt, routine utility bills, groceries, and daily living expenses must be excluded from the declaration. You must also record your liabilities. This covers formal bank loans, informal borrowings from friends or family, and legal obligations, such as standing as a guarantor for someone else's debt. Liabilities must be declared the moment you assume them, even if actual repayment has not yet commenced. The declaration functions as a mathematical cross-check. The Commission uses these figures to ensure your reported income accounts for every asset, debt, and expenditure on the ledger. Once you finalize and lock in your submission on the centralized electronic system, a strict amendment window begins. Looking at this timer, you have exactly 15 days to alter or correct standard submissions, like initial, annual, or retirement declarations. However, if you are amending an ad hoc declaration, that window is accelerated. You only have 7 days to make corrections. Once these specific timeframes expire, the system locks automatically. Special extensions to amend an electronic declaration are only granted by the Commission if they are satisfied that highly scrutinized, reasonable grounds exist. Please gather your Annex 01 documents immediately. If you encounter any technical difficulties with the system, contact the official technical support lines at 0767 011 954 or 011 258 7287. As a designated officer, the responsibility for a true and accurate filing rests with you. Completing this ledger is the final step in meeting your staff